Do you know someone who says, I read 30 books a year, but for some reason is still living paycheck to paycheck? Or is that you? We're going to talk about how you get out of this and how you get your friends to get out of this mindset right now here on the Fearless Investor Podcast. Hey, welcome into the Fearless Investor Podcast. You're listening to me, Kyle Stanley, and every once in a while I get these ideas and I just want to come on here really quick and take about 10 minutes to just help you to get over something, get past something, and that's exactly what I'm wanting to do today, and which is don't be a learnoholic. And I want to challenge this mindset of learning is power. Learning is not power. Learning plus knowledge is power. But there's a lot of learning porn out there that makes us feel really good. And guess what? It's not doing anything for us. So we want to stay away from the learning porn. What do I mean? Well, when you learn something, I want you to think about the last thing you learned and that like last aha moment you had and how good you felt. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can't believe I never thought about this before. And then what did you do with it? Now, you had two choices. One, you go and you put it into practice and you see the fruits of your labor and this new aha moment becomes something that you just have to scream to the world. Or two, you put your head up 2 months later and you think about, oh yeah, I remember when I learned about, for example, rental arbitrage and Airbnb. I guess I should have done something with that. Oh, well, I'm going to go back to reading my 12th book for the last 3 months. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So we get this sense of accomplishment, right? We get this like, oh, wow, I learned something. And for that reason, there's this little, so I don't know if you know this, but there's a couple things that really motivate people: making a big change, being a part of something bigger, or progress. That's the main two motivating factors that studies have been done. Those are the two things that people are motivated the most by. So no reason or no, like surprise why people love going to the gym, because they see progress. Why guys love going, not just guys and girls love playing golf. Because, I shaved 2 strokes off my score. Why anyone goes and tries to start a new meal plan. It's because they're progressing towards a healthier lifestyle. There's all these things that make us feel like we're progressing, and that little chemical in your brain is called dopamine that makes you feel really good. And so you get this hit of dopamine and you're like, yeah, I love it. I'm gonna do it again. That's why you see people getting literally like losing 100 pounds in a year, because they get so addicted to this feeling of like, I'm progressing, I'm doing something, and I'm getting these shots of dopamine. It's making me feel good. And that's awesome. However, you can also get that just through education. So every time you flip through a book, I've got my book right here. If I'm flipping through this and I finish another page, boom, drop of dopamine, felt good. I just accomplished another page, another chapter, another book, another 5 books. And before you know it, you've gone through all of these books and you're getting all this sense of accomplishment, and you look up and you're in no different place. And I think what it comes down to is that you have become so addicted to learning porn and learning for the sake of a good feeling that you're not taking any action. And so I want to get you out of this mindset. Or maybe you're thinking about a like colleague or a friend or maybe a spouse, and you want to share this episode with them to help them get out of this mindset. I want to be that person to help you with that today. So the first reality check that you need to realize, and I already said it, is that knowledge is not power. Knowledge plus action is power. So let's think about the last book you read, the last course you read, maybe the last bit of information that you read or listened to or digested, and what you did with that. Did you do anything with it at all? If no, then you need to stop doing it. You need to stop buying courses. You need to stop listening to this podcast right now. If you have done nothing from listening to this podcast or listening to Bigger Pockets or listening to all these real estate related podcasts, if you've listened to all of them and you've done absolutely nothing, then you need to stop and you need to go back to these episodes and you need to say, okay, what is the one thing I'm going to actually do? I'm going to stop saying this sounds like a great idea. I'm going to stop being like, yes, I could totally reach this goal if I did this, and just freaking do it. Okay. So that's the first thing. I would say that, like, for example, I joined Fortune Builders, which is a flipping education business, in January 2019. And by March of 2019, I'd flipped my first house. I bought an Airbnb course in May of 2019. And in April 2019, by May of 2019, I had got my first property under contract for rental arbitrage. And so but I also had these courses, like I did a social media course where it was like, learn how to attract more clients and learn how to do social media ads. And I did close to nothing with that. And so I'm guilty of both. I'm guilty of doing it. I'm guilty of not doing it. But if you can think about that one thing, that one recent book, maybe it's not even a real estate investing related book. Maybe it's just something that is all about leadership, changing your lifestyle, changing your health. And you were like, man, that was a really good book. Did you underline anything? Did you go back and take any notes? And if you did, then you're lucky, because you're not going to have to go and reread the whole thing. But if you didn't, you're going to need to go back and reread chapter by chapter. And what I want you to do, or if it's a podcast, just something educational, take that one thing, and rather than digesting all of it, rather than taking one course or reading one book or listening to one full podcast or a ton of podcast episodes all in one day or in 1 month, do one little thing, bite size, and go and practice that. And even if it's as simple as, I've got a course with Airbnb, and I give homework assignments after every module. And I don't want you to move on to a module until you finish a homework assignment. Something just as simple as go and create an LLC, name your business, make your trifold brochure. Guys, something as simple as that. By doing that action, you get one step closer to mastering that business. Or if it's creating a new healthy lifestyle, it is, hey, I'm 100 pounds overweight right now. I'm going to read this weight loss diet book. I'm going to watch this weight loss webinar. And oh man, it seems so far away, but it sure felt good to learn all of that stuff. I'm going to do that one. No, you're going to take that one piece of advice. You're going to say, okay, what I learned is that I should eat within an hour of waking up. Well, it usually takes me 3 hours. So why don't I just go ahead and try to have a little bit of fruit 1 hour after I wake up today for the first time in my life in the last 10 years. That one thing, that one little action just gets you that little bit of now action progress rather than just knowledge progress. You're not just getting a dopamine shot of knowledge, you're getting a dopamine shot of action. Hey, that felt really good. I actually implemented something that I learned today. And then guess what happens? Just like you're obsessed with learning, you're going to be now obsessed with action. And so I want to just keep it so bite-sized for you. And I want you to comment on this video, or if you're on the podcast, review and let me know something that you did, or to follow through on this, or just DM me on Instagram at Fearless Kyle. I would love to know what's like one thing that you have been learning about, but you did nothing. And now, because of listening to this, you just took one small step. I want to celebrate the smallest little thing. If you have been listening to this podcast, like, one day I'm going to get into Airbnb, maybe that first action piece is you set up a call with me, or you downloaded our Airbnb profit calculator, or you got your membership with AirDNA, or you started looking on Facebook Marketplace or Zillow for all of these possible Airbnb rental arbitrage leads. And it's just that little bit of action. And then do it again the next day, and then do it again the next day. And don't do any more than that. Like, just start off with those bite-sized things. Me, that's not me. I'm going to go in and I'm going to like do as much as I can. Like, when I got this Airbnb course in April 2019, I was watching the whole thing. I was taking feverish notes, and I was like, all right, we're getting on the horn with some apartments right now. Who can I go and rental arbitrage from right now? And I was setting up meetings. I was doing all of it. I was like, but for me, guys, I have to create so much action, or else I won't do it. For most of you, I think what you just need to do is you need to create one piece of action. Just take one step. And if you can just take one step, then eventually call it 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in, maybe it's a month, maybe it's 6 months. You've created so much momentum that you're like, man, I get way more satisfaction out of this shot of dopamine from the action that I'm taking rather than from the knowledge that I'm reading. So that's my challenge to you today. I think this in itself, this mindset of getting away from the learning porn, not being a learnoholic, not thinking that knowledge is power, but that being an action-oholic, I guess that's what we can call it, that alone can help you to accomplish so much more than you're accomplishing right now. So hopefully this adds some value for you today. Share this with people that you think need to hear it, and would love to be able to hear what the results are. Again, you can comment on the video, DM me on Instagram at FearlessKyle. Would love to hear, and just continue to go out there and conquer the world of investing. Talk to you next time.